Hey everyone, welcome back to Tubby Time. Today we are going to be going over the must-have accessories if you are a griddler or a flat topper or whatever you want to call yourself. These are the things that we think you need and will make your grilling or flat topping experience 69 times better. Don't miss out. My apologies for my appearance today. It's been a long weekend. I haven't shaved, I haven't cut my hair. I look like a wreck. That's okay because it's a beautiful day out. I wanted to get out here and do a video I've been looking to do for a while now, even though we've only been around for like 5 months. Anyway, I've been griddling for about 5 years now. While I might not be the most experienced person, this is a video I wanted to do because it's something I wanted to see when I first started with my Blackstone griddle. If you know me, I try to save a buck anytime I can. So I'm not one of those people that goes out and I'm like, oh, I need this accessory, I need this accessory, I need this. Oh my God, I'm gonna be the best griller ever. It's gonna be awesome. I don't do that. I try to save money. I try to buy the least amount of things I can. But over the years, I've noticed that I've needed to buy more and more for my griddle. And if you're out there and you're just starting griddling, or maybe you've been doing it for some time, this video is for you because we're gonna go over all of the things that I've personally needed in my 5 years of doing this to make my griddle experience better and to make cooking much, much easier. These are in no particular order of importance. I'm just gonna run through them. And if you have any ideas of things that you need for griddling, leave them in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And maybe you can convince me to buy something else. So the first thing you need to do when you get your griddle is you need to make sure it's level. So you can use a leveler. Pretty sweet, right? You probably know what this looks like. Sometimes this is overlooked, and depending on how you have your grease trap set up, so I unfortunately have the front grease strip trap thing. I hate it. The newer Blackstone models come with the rear grease trap, and that's, I think, much better. But you have to position your griddle in a way that the grease will drain. So, for example, if I placed it on an angle like this, it wouldn't work out too well because all the grease would pool to this side where I have my grease trap over here. And personally, what I do, because my patio is not the most pristine option for this, I put a brick right under the leg there, and that just puts it on a slight angle so it drains properly. And we can see that just a little bit off. That's all we need. Doesn't take much. The next thing I recommend specifically for people with the front grease trap, and if you can avoid getting this model, please do, because I'm telling you it's a pain. This disgusting thing is actually just a piece of stainless steel that I fabricated because I like to save money. It's gross. But the problem with this thing is that when the grease drips down here, it ends up dripping down the leg and will end up on your patio or your floor or wherever you're using it, and you don't want that kind of mess. So this thing just slips on, and I'll put a link on Amazon for this. I'll put a link for everything, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. They sell these, but they're a little expensive. I just made this out of stainless steel. If you're handy, you can do the same thing. And this looks stupid, but it actually helps get the grease in this thing. Otherwise, I'm telling you, it drips all over the place. And you can even see there's a little bit of remnants from grease dripping down. So this is very important to have only if you have the front grease option. The next thing you're gonna need if you keep your flat top outside or even under cover, if you're not putting it in a garage where it's dry and away from the elements, you're going to need some type of cover. Now, I don't have the full cover because I don't use the full cover normally. As you can see with my smoker, it's not even on there. So I just have this wonderful thing that goes right on top. It's the same size as the flat top. And what's cool about it, and you can use this with both model actually, it has hooks. So you now have a barrier if you're cooking against a wall or something like that, where you don't want grease to splatter. This makes it amazing. And when I'm filming, I don't have this on, but if I'm not filming, I'll keep this up just because it's a nice shield to keep stuff off my stone wall behind this. But these things are absolutely great. A lot of the newer models actually come with covers. So if you can get a model with a cover, you're gonna be in much better shape. They even have like grill type covers that pop up. So those are pretty cool, and you can close it and actually use it as a grill if you want to. This, not so much. It's a little limited on space. But if you don't have a cover, get one, because you don't want the top of this rusting. I waited for quite a while before I got a cover because I had my flat top in my parents' garage. So when I moved to this house, I needed something because I kept it outside. It's still outside. The thing is, this will rust, okay? This will rust if you don't have a cover on it and it is outside. Even if it's under cover like here, get a cover. I can't explain that enough to you. I'll even show you if we go under here, there's a little bit of rust buildup underneath the cooking surface. That's not a big deal to me. I just don't want the top of this getting rusty. What's this? Oh, a propane tank. We need that too, right? Well, not only do you need a propane tank, you need 2 of them, 2. What many people fail to realize is these griddles do not come with propane tanks. So you do need to go to your local hardware store or Walmart or whatever and buy a propane tank. But I'm telling you, get 2, because nothing is worse, and it's happened to me, than you're cooking this huge meal and all of a sudden you realize, oh, don't have much heat going on now. It's because propane ran out. If you have 2 tanks and you always have one full in your garage or shed or whatever, you can easily swap it out and not lose too much time cooking. So always have a backup. The next thing you're going to need is space. And when I say space, I don't mean like space to cook. Well, you don't want to put this near your house, obviously, or against a wall that could catch on fire, something like that, because there is heat that comes out. But you want table space. If you look around, I don't have a table. I have a table I'll put out here sometimes that's in my shed. I didn't take it out today. But Blackstone does sell an actual thing that wraps around, a whole giant table thing. I don't think you can use it with the rear grease trap. Maybe you can, I don't know. But by default, the base models come with these 2 tables here. And they are extremely dirty, so don't mind that. But what's nice about these is you can just put stuff on here, but don't put anything that's going to melt, because a ton of heat comes out of these vents and it will melt stuff. I've melted bottles. I've started cooking food by accident. I melted a bag of cheese onto itself one time. And these are pretty sturdy. They can hold a good amount of weight. But you definitely want to have something, whether it's a table or a smoker, that you can put all of your accessories on and your food, so you don't have to worry about running out of space. Nothing is worse than when you're cooking and you can't find stuff, or you need to run around or running back in the house because you didn't bring the stuff you needed out with you. So just keep that in mind. Definitely have some type of table or space to put stuff on. The next thing you're going to need are cleaning items. I just have a plastic bag and towels. I actually like to keep a roll of paper towels out here under the griddle so I don't have to run in and get some every time in my house. When you're first spreading out your oil, or you need to clean up and re-season your griddle at the end of the cooking process, it's always nice to have paper towels. You can use a dish towel if you so prefer, but it will get gross and grimy, and it's not always the most efficient way. Usually paper towels are the way to go. I do normally have a dish towel just to wipe off utensils if I need to, and those work out fine. But honestly, paper towels are your best friend. It's always nice to have a roll. Now, the newer models have a paper towel dispenser on this side, and it just sits right near your propane tank, or maybe it's this side, I don't know. And they also have a trash opening on this side, so you can just throw a trash bag in. I don't have that because I'm not special. So I usually just bring out a small plastic bag. Thank you, coronavirus, for allowing stores to give this again to us, because before we were running out. So I have a new stock load of plastic bags, and I just throw all my trash in here, wrap it up, and throw it away. That way I don't have to run into the house, run back. And you don't really understand how necessary that is until you're in the middle of putting down chicken or bacon or something like that, and you have trash, and you're like, well, where do I put this? Do I put it on the floor, or do I put it somewhere, whatever? It's always nice to have. Another thing I insist on getting is an apron. Now, you've seen this apron in all of our videos that I cook outside, and I wear it for a reason. It is a funny apron that says, by the time you read this apron, you could have gotten me a beer. You can get a normal apron. It's just something to wear to keep stuff from splattering onto you. If I start cooking bacon or something, it's amazing how much of that splatters back onto me if I don't have an apron on. And this apron smells like sausage, because I cooked sausage the other day. I don't know if that's good or bad, but just a cheap apron. You don't have to go crazy and spend a ton of money. Just get something that works and that will prevent your clothes from stinking like whatever you cooked. Another handy dandy thing to have are trays and bowls. Now, these are plastic trays and plastic bowls, because every time I bring something outside that's glass, I break it. starting with the bowls, it's always good to have 3 sizes. I use these for a multitude of things. When I prep my veggies, I will bring them out in this, and then I'll even keep them for when they're done because they are heat resistant, so I can put all my finished product in there, and they're cheap too. And the next thing are trays. So if I have a bunch of stuff, I don't know, maybe I want to put the vegetables on here, or I have like stir fry and I can use these for raw chicken or something like that. These just create less work bringing bowls back and forth, so I can just use these for my raw ingredients and throw them on. If you're bringing out a bunch of different sauces or something like that, different things you need for your recipe, these are always great to have. Or maybe you're bringing out multiple bowls. You can put them on here like so. And these are cheap as well, very cheap, like $1. The next thing are basting covers. Now, I took a while to get these because, and this is the actual Blackstone model basting cover, they're a little bit expensive. Like for just a dome that's metal, I don't remember how much they are, but it's a little ridiculous, to be completely honest. But it was something I needed eventually that I realized, especially for melting cheese on burgers or cooking chicken wings. Yeah, this is great. An alternative to this is a baking pan. So if you have a deep baking pan, you can just throw it on here like so and put it over your burgers and it'll work just as fine. I don't like to ruin Kayla's stuff, so I usually leave these alone. But these work just as well. It's up to you how much money you want to spend. They do have actual basting covers that look like this, that are bigger. And I think I'll probably get a bigger one or make a new one with some kind of cheap cooking tray. And I mean, these are already scratched. If you have some old trays that you want to use and screw a handle into them, you can save some money that way. But these work. Get one. You'll need it. Also, those are great for potatoes as well because you can steam potatoes or steam cheeseburgers or whatever you want to do. They're just amazing. Another thing that took me a little while to get were presses. I just have 2 sizes of presses here. This one you can use for like a steak or something like that if you're into that. This one is actually a burger press. Always want to use some sort of not saran wrap, some kind of parchment paper or something to just let it not stick. But these are great to have, especially when cooking bacon. And I'll show you a little trick. Once again, going back to a baking sheet, if you have one that's flat, doesn't have, I mean, you could use the other one, I guess. But if you have a roll of bacon going here, you can actually just use this and put the presses on top of it if you don't have a large press. Because sometimes what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll move it around to the different spots on the bacon. But if you just do that, makes it nice and pressed, and it's a cheap way of saving yourself some money. These aren't too expensive. I think they're like 10 bucks a piece. They are a great tool. You're going to like them at some point, especially if you like making smash burgers or something like that. I use these all the time. And they are cast iron, so you can't really get them wet. Another thing you're going to want, it's probably not as important if you're not a klutz like I am, but some kind of heat-resistant gloves. These are great if your utensils get hot, and you don't really know how hot they get until you reach for them and you're like, wow, that's hot. These things generate a shit ton of heat. I'm telling you, if you don't have gloves that are some type of, like the UV glove even, like something like that, these are just fire-resistant gloves. So these are great. If there's something that, if I leave my utensil in a wrong area and the handle starts to heat up, I can just throw one of these bad boys on and I don't feel the heat at all. Otherwise, I burn myself. I did the other day right here. All the time it happens. So just good to pick these up somewhere. I think you get them at a hardware store or something like that. I use these for my smoker all the time too. They're great for moving briskets and pork butts and all that kind of stuff. Use a towel too, but they're great. And last but not least, I want to talk about the tote. The tote is the most important, essential thing you could use as a griddler. I got a tote right away, and some of you might be thinking, well, what do you need a tote for? Listen, you want to make as least amount of trips as possible when you're griddling because you're cooking in real time. You have things going on, you have ingredients on there, you need to flip this, need to flip that, and you just don't want to be bothered by running back into your house saying, oh shit, I forgot my spatulas, I need to go get those. God damn it, this is just my griddling tote. I keep everything I need in here, and it's extremely handy. So let's go through it. Now this tote I just got on Amazon. It's a few bucks, not that bad. But we're gonna take everything out and we'll show you what each thing does. Now, the first thing I keep in here are my spatulas. Now, like I said at the start of the video, I am not a brand guy, okay? I actually started with spatulas that were not the the Blackstone brand, but as you can see, they're beautiful, they work extremely well, and I want to show you why I upgraded to actual Blackstone products instead of using something cheaper. Let's do a little comparison. On this side is Blackstone. On this side is a cheap Walmart brand, or no, I think it was Amazon actually. These are the Zen T spatulas and scraper. This set actually came with this thing too. I actually use that still. But I went through 2 different brands of cheap spatulas before I went to Blackstone. This is the one I used the longest. I actually returned the other one. And the reason was the other one had plastic handles that melted. So those were absolute crap. These ones were fine, except for the fact the finish came right off of these, which was terrible. They used to look like dark and beautiful like that. These rivets heat up extremely hot. They're almost unbearable. I used to have to wear a glove all the time. And if you notice, if I go down to this side, the angle that the spatulas are at. So if I put my hand down here, like this, I have a better chance of hitting my griddle top than I do with these. I have a huge range of motion. I still do, trust me. But I have a huge range of motion with these, whereas I used to burn myself just picking them up. I'd be like, oh shit, burn my hand. So you definitely want to spend money on the Blackstone products, I would say. I think they're a much better value, and get something that's going to last. I mean, these are great. They're wood. They feel good in the hand. I have 2 griddle spatulas. I have my scraper, which is much better than this stupid thing. I have a burger press here, which is sort of, or burger spatula, I should say. It's not really a press. It's sort of pointless because it has that stupid logo in the middle. I wish it was solid, but do what you do, you know. And then we have these nice tongs that you can use for chicken wings or whatever. Oh, what else do I have in here? Oh, nice basting brush. These are great for whatever you need to baste with. Rubber gloves, huge important thing. I love rubber gloves because I can be out here and I could put some bacon down and not have to go in and wash my hands. So I always carry rubber gloves. I usually keep like 6 pairs in there. So if I have to do something quick with chicken or something, I can do that. Always nice to have, and you can just throw them away right after. Oh, the Zen T kit came with one of these, or 2 of these actually, little egg things. So you can just throw an egg down there. I don't really use them. Right here we have separate seasonings. And what I mean by that is I don't take all the seasonings out I need every time. I usually just put them in the tote and leave them there. So I have salt in this container and pepper in this container. I like to use salt and pepper for everything, so I always keep them in this tote so I don't have to run back and forth into my house to get seasonings I need. I'll prep all my seasonings ahead of time so I can put them in my tote, which is sort of handy. Fork. These are a necessity. These are just squirt bottles. This one's filled with my favorite oil, which is vegetable oil, and this one's filled with water. The water is more for steaming or for cleaning off sugary substances from the griddle top. I don't use water every time I clean, but it's nice to have for those instances where you need to steam something. What's nice about the Blackstone kit is it does come with this giant spray bottle. I haven't found a use for it yet. I'm sure I will, but it has a nice open top, so when you screw it off, you can fit sauces or something like that in there. These are great for sauces or oils or whatever you use, frequent sake maybe, I don't know. My only con with these is you do have to use a funnel when you fill them, because that is really not that, I mean, my finger doesn't even fit in there, really. It's not that big of an opening compared to these Blackstone models. So I'll put a link for these, and I will try to find some ones that maybe are better, that have a bigger opening. But these were pretty cheap too, so they work well, I think. And the tops break off sometimes, whatever. The tote itself is from Amazon, just a normal cleaning tote. It's made for not flat topping, but hey, it works, cheap. And then I think the last and one of the most important things you need as a griddler is thermometers. Let's talk about this one first. This is my infrared. This took me a while to get as well, and you might think to yourself, why the hell would I need an infrared thermometer? Well, it's terrible when you go to put a piece of steak on the griddle and it doesn't sear. It doesn't have that nice crisp sound you're looking for. It doesn't do the sizzle. This thing automatically turns on when you press the trigger, and it tells you the temp as you go around. And then when you let go, it'll give you an average. Okay, and there's a little laser there, as you can see. Oh, look at that. But this is great, and you can really figure out where the hot points of your griddle are. So I've noticed back here in this area, all the way back are my hot points. See, we're already 107 over there. And it's instant. I mean, it tells you. Let's go over this way. 73. Let's go here. 106. I could cook an egg right now, probably. And then it automatically just turns off after a second or two. There you go. And you can use that for Celsius, Fahrenheit. You can set a min, a max. You can call EMS, I guess. I don't know what that means. You can set it for different metals and different types of material. It's very handy to have. And it's really a must-have if you're going to be griddling, because you don't want your steak to be ruined because you didn't have the griddle hot enough, especially if you run out of gas. It's always terrible. And the last two things I have here are your internal thermometers. Okay, I have two models here. This one is a cheap one that came with some set. It works okay, but I've complained about in other videos. This is my newer Thermapen. Now, if you know Thermapen, you know they're expensive. Why did I spend this much on a thermometer? Because of pieces of crap like these. I've gone through probably 3 of these in the last 5 years, and they're like 20 bucks a piece. So I spent 60 bucks for this thing on sale, and it's going to last a lifetime. It comes with a warranty, and it's actually an InstaRead thermometer. It's off, and when I open it up, it automatically turns on. And then if I actually hold this in my hand, look, it says my hand's 95. When I close it, it automatically turns off. Let's try this bad boy and see what it does. Oh, it doesn't even want to turn on. That's good. Yeah, so crap, it's going in the trash. Don't buy this. Spend some money on a good Thermapen. They're great, believe me. You could be like me and say, oh, I can touch the hamburger or steak and know because of my thumb and stuff like that. Look, just don't take chances. If you want to be a good cook, just get a good thermometer. Stop being so proud. And I saved a bunch of time and effort when I stopped being proud, so shit. So that is pretty much everything that I would say you need as a griddler if you want to be a pro like me. We're not pros. Anyway, like I said, some of this stuff, it turned on. Apparently my hand is 89. Oh, no, it's going up still. So it's not really an InstaRead, even though it claims to be. Still climbs up. And you don't want that kind of time lapse when you're cooking food. You can very easily overcook a steak by just waiting for one of these things to come to temp. And it's still on, even though I turned it. There we go. Anyway, like I said, this is the stuff that I just found I needed over the years. You don't have to buy all of this at once when you first start out. If you can find ways around getting some of this stuff, I mean, you're going to need the spatulas. You don't necessarily need the tote right away. You're going to need it at some point, though. You don't need the spray bottles. You can work around that if you're on a budget. But this is just some of the stuff I think you really, really, really need if you want to be good at griddling and using your griddle to its full potential and cooking to your full potential. That being said, I have linked everything that we talked about today, for the most part, in the description below. If there's something I didn't have a link for, I found something that might work. So just check those out if you're interested in anything that we've talked about today. Now keep in mind there are other accessories you can buy for your Blackstone griddle, such as the cutting board, such as other covers, other kinds of presses, cleaning kits. You know, I don't know. I've never really needed the cutting board, so I don't really crave getting that. It seems nice, but I don't need it. I don't cut while I'm cooking. I do all my prep work beforehand. If you're doing live events or something like that, you might want the cutting board because you can put it on the grill surface. Other than that, this is really what I think you need. So that being said, if you like what you saw, please check out the links below. It helps our channel out. Leave other things or accessories you think that you need as a griddler in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, guys, stay safe and stay tubby. Thank you.